You don't tell anyone how tired you really are. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, the kind that sits behind your eyes, the kind that makes mornings feel heavier than they should. You wake up in the dark again, you look at the ceiling, you try not to sigh because even that feels exhausting. And you wonder, when did this start by G? When did sleep become something you chase instead of something that holds you? You go to bed early. You turn off the lights. You tell yourself tonight will be different. But your body doesn't listen. Your mind doesn't soften. And somewhere between midnight and 3 a.m., you're wide awake again, staring into silence. You don't complain about it much. You laugh it off. You say, I'm just getting older. But that's not the whole truth, is it? Because it's not just sleep you're losing. It's patience. It's clarity. It's the version of you that used to feel steady. You don't talk about the nights when your chest feels tight. You don't talk about the nights when your chest feels tight for no reason. When you suddenly remember something you should have said and didn't. You don't talk about how lonely 2:17 a.m. can feel. You lie there next to someone or maybe alone. Either way, it feels isolating. The world is asleep, but your mind is running about the way your energy isn't what it used to be, about how quietly aging sneaks up on you. You remember when sleep was simple. You would close your eyes and it was morning. Now you close your eyes and it feels like your brain refuses to let go. It's not dramatic. It's not catastrophic, but it wears you down night after night. You tell yourself you're strong. You've handled worse. But there's something about being tired for months, years, that changes a person. You become shorter with people, more sensitive, more fragile than you want to admit. And you start questioning yourself, why can't I just sleep? What's wrong with me, David? You don't say it out loud, but it's there. That quiet fear. Is this just how it's going to be now? You start blaming your age, your stress, your hormones, your past. But the real pain isn't just the lack of sleep. It's the feeling of losing control over your own body. When you were younger, you trusted it. You didn't have to think about it. Now you negotiate with it. You've handled heartbreak, rejection, financial stress, family conflict. But this quiet nightly battle feels different because no one sees it. There's no applause for surviving 4 hours of broken sleep and still showing up to work. Number one praises you for pushing through brain fog. No one notices how hard you're trying. They just see you distracted or irritable or slower than you used to be, and you feel misunderstood. You start wondering if maybe this is just decline. Maybe this is what aging means. Slowly unraveling in small, invisible ways. But let me tell you something you haven't allowed yourself to believe. Your body is not betraying you. It is talking to you, and you've been trying to silence it instead of listening. You think sleep is something you force. It's not. Sleep is something you allow. And as you've gotten older, something inside you stopped feeling safe enough to allow it. That's the part no one talks about. You can dim the lights. You can buy the expensive mattress. You can try supplements, teas, routines. But if your nervous system is still bracing for impact, you will wake up. Because your body doesn't fall asleep when it feels threatened. And aging doesn't just change your hormones, it changes your fears. When you're older, you worry about losing something: health, relevance, strength, time, relevance, strength, time. And those worries don't disappear when you close your eyes. They wait in the quiet. There was a man I once spoke to. He never described himself as anxious, never said he was overwhelmed. He was the kind of person who handled everything, paid the bills, took care of everyone else, rarely complained. But he hadn't slept through the night in 7 years. 7 years. He told me he would wake up at 2 a.m. every night like clockwork. Not panicked, just alert, as if someone had shaken him awake. He blamed his age. He was in his late 50s, said it was normal. But when we talked longer, something slipped out. He said, I think my body is just used to being on guard. That sentence changed everything. Used to being on guard. He grew up in a house where nights weren't peaceful. There was shouting, unpredictability, tension that crept under the bedroom door. As a child, he learned to listen while pretending to sleep. As an adult, his body never forgot. Even decades later, even in a quiet home, even next to a loving partner, his nervous system still believed night meant alertness. And here's the part that broke him open. He wasn't tired because he was aging. He was tired because he had never taught his body that it was safe to rest. You don't have to come from chaos for this to be true. Life does it to you slowly. Waif, stress at work, carrying responsibilities alone, swallowing emotions to keep the peace, pushing through grief without stopping. You become high functioning. You become reliable. You become the strong one. But strength has a cost when it never turns off. And your body keeps the score. When you lie down at night, your mind finally has space. Everything unresolved shows up: the conversation you avoided, the resentment you buried, The fear of getting older, the worry about your health. Your heart beats a little faster. Your breathing gets shallow. You don't even notice. You just know you're awake again. It's not complicated. It's not some extreme overhaul of your life. It's one shift. You stop trying to knock yourself out and you start teaching your body that it's safe. Safe to let go, safe to soften, safe to sleep. That man I mentioned, he didn't fix his sleep with medication. He started doing something almost embarrassingly simple. Before bed, he would sit on the edge of his bed and breathe, not aggressively, not perfectly, just slow, right? He would put one hand on his chest and one on his stomach, and he would whisper to himself, "You're safe." At first, it felt ridiculous, but his body didn't need logic. It needed repetition. Night after night, he practiced telling his nervous system that it wasn't 1984 anymore, that the shouting was gone, that he was no longer a child listening for danger. And something shifted. Not overnight, but gradually. He stopped waking up at 2 a.m. not because he forced sleep, but because he created safety. You might be thinking, this sounds too simple. You want something more technical, more advanced, more scientific. But here's the psychological truth most people miss. Sleep is not a mechanical process, it's relational. Your body sleeps when it trusts you, when it believes you will handle tomorrow, when it doesn't feel like it has to stay awake to protect you. As you age, you carry more history, more disappointments, more proof that life can change without warning, and that history can make your system vigilant. But vigilance is exhausting, and you deserve rest. Not just physical rest, emotional rest, the kind where you're allowed to not be in control for 8 hours. You don't stay asleep because your body is weak. You wake up because your body is loyal. It has been protecting you for years from heartbreak, from humiliation, from fear. So tonight, instead of fighting your wakefulness, do something different. When you wake up, don't get angry. Don't panic. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. But you are rewiring decades of survival patterns. You are teaching your nervous system a new story. Aging does not mean unraveling. It means integration. It means finally having the awareness to give your body what it needed all along. Consistency, gentleness, permission. Sleep isn't conquered. It's invited. And you've been knocking on your own door with urgency instead of compassion. You don't need to overhaul your life. You need one fix that is easier than you think. Slow down your breathing before bed. Lengthen your exhale. Let your shoulders drop. Turn off the mental rehearsal for tomorrow. Not because you're lazy, but because your body deserves peace. The real exhaustion isn't from getting older. It's from never letting yourself fully rest. You've carried so much for so long. Of course you wake up. Your system has been trained to scan for threats. Now you get to retrain it to scan for safety. You are not broken. You are patterned. Now you get to retrain it to scan. It won't be perfect tomorrow night or the next. But if you practice safety the way you practice survival, something beautiful happens. You start staying asleep, not because you forced your body into submission, but because it finally trusts you enough to let go. And that trust changes more than your nights. It softens your days. You become less reactive, more patient, clearer. You stop snapping at people you love. You stop doubting your capacity. You start feeling like yourself again. Not the younger version, the wiser one, the one who understands that strength without softness is self-abandonment. Tonight, when you lie down, don't try to escape your thoughts. Listen to them, thank them. Then breathe slower than feels natural. Long exhale, again. Feel the mattress under you. Feel the weight of your body. Remind yourself that you are not in danger. You are in a bed, in a room, in this moment, and this moment is safe. You've survived everything that brought you here. You don't have to stay awake to survive anymore. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to age without fear. You are allowed to close your eyes without bracing for impact. The fix isn't complicated. It's permission. Permission to soften. Permission to stop fighting the night. And if no one has told you this lately, you are not weak for struggling with sleep. You are human. And your body has been doing its best. Now it's your turn to show it that it doesn't have to be on guard anymore. Tonight, don't chase sleep, create safety, and let sleep find you. Stay with it, stay patient, stay gentle. And one quiet night soon, you will wake up and realize you didn't wake up at all. You stayed asleep, and you'll smile in the morning, not because you conquered something, but because you finally stopped fighting yourself. That is the shift, and it is easier than you think.